Welcome to the Shannon Show, real business talk for real life. I'm Shannon, creative business coach, digital product lover, and your strategy sidekick. I've built a business that fits my life, and now I help other women do the same. No hustle, no fluff, just smart, honest conversations about building a business that works for you. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. I am so excited today to have on the show Hailey Dale from Your Content Empire. At least that's where I know her from. Hailey, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such a treat to be here.
Yeah, I love this. So to kick things off, I really love to have my guests introduce themselves because I feel like you can do it so much better justice than me just reading like a bio, which bios are awesome. Don't get me wrong. They can be really great, but I'd love to hear sort of a little about how you got started with Your Content Empire. Basically, we'll go through some other questions after that, but introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I run Your Content Empire. I am a content strategist, but I also call myself a coach-sultant as well in the work
Yeah,
I do.
I love that.
So YCE is one part teach you everything I know, courses and digital products. Very much inspired by the things that make my life easier, and people just tend to respond to them as well and want to adopt some of those systems. I'm kind of a systems geek. And then I also work like one-on-one with business owners too to kind of tailor those strategies and business model alignment stuff and systems to their business
Right.
because courses and that are great, but like that's no substitution for like come in my business and like let's
Right.
break this
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So some things you can totally learn from a course, but a lot of the times you actually need a little bit of, I'm not going to say hand holding because that sounds like I'm talking down. That's not what I mean, but you need that one-on-one and the extra eyeballs on things, right? The extra opinion.
Yeah, because there's a
Yeah.
million and one ways to, there's no doing something right, right? But there's,
Hmm.
there's the right for you. And I think that's what,
Right.
like where that tailoring comes in.
Yeah. And I think we get in our heads a little bit sometimes, right? And we need somebody to sort of just pull the strings and sort it out for us.
Yes, and
Yeah.
sometimes like even I need that. Even
Yeah.
I need
We all
that,
do.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to do that for your own business, even if you're really, really good at doing it for other people.
Yeah, you can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Exactly.
You're so in it. I also love what you said about like Your Content Empire being, all the things you've learned and then you're sharing them. And I think that's so key as entrepreneurs leading other people that you don't have to be a gazillion steps ahead of someone else. You just need to be a little bit ahead of them and then you can share what you've learned. And that's such an amazing, amazing place, I think, to run a business from. I love
Yeah,
that.
I agree. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think there needs to be a ton of separate. I think there's almost better if there's not a ton of separation
Hmm.
between you and the people that you're working with. Of course, you need to have experience and you need to have like, I don't know, the frameworks or whatever the process is to kind of back up what you do. But I think like the further and further you get removed from it, the further it is to like put yourself in the shoes and like
Yeah.
know what's actually coming up in terms of obstacles and things getting in the way.
Yeah, I think you forget a little bit too, like how hard it was at whatever stage. Yeah, for sure. So, how did you first get into the online business space? Because I'm pretty sure, not that we're going to talk about this, but I'm pretty sure you have other business stuff outside of online too. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I got couple of things, couple of little side businesses and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did you first get into the online business space? And then, what was the spark that sort of first made you start?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's like going back so far. I actually started, I'm coming up to my 11th business anniversary. I started on November 11th, which for us Canadians, being
Yes.
Shannon
Yes. Yes.
here,
Yep.
is, Remembrance Day. And I started
Mhm.
it because I was like, it was my day off work, right? So it was like the
Okay.
day to
Yeah.
finally hit live on my business that long ago. But I was working at that time, I was working in government and I was also working as like a consultant for these kind of big businesses with massive budgets and massive teams. And like, I was like so inspired by all of the frameworks and all of like the
Mm.
budget and the time and the runway that they had to like do this work. And so I taking these big frameworks and distilling them down for online business owners and like small online business owners and making them the right sized fit. And I was doing a work, I remember really clearly, I was doing a work exchange with a copywriter who was helping me write some stuff for my website, and I was helping her with her content strategy. And she just had like the big thing, and like the inspiration for the name Your Content Empire, is that I truly believe that as online businesses, the content we create is really our empire, and it has so like it's such an asset and it has value. And we get so I see so many business owners get trapped in this cycle of creating content has to be new, always has to like create, like publish something new, find something new, have something new to say. And so I wanted to like slow it down, and like your content really is an asset. And so I just saw
Yeah.
such like a lightning, like a light bulb moment for
Yeah.
her. And she just started growing so fast and had so much more time to do it when she wasn't so stuck in like every single day creating a new post or a new, there weren't even really podcasts back then, but written
Right.
blog posts back then. And she just had so much clarity. And I remember I'm like, what else? What other frameworks and what other like strategies can I take from, my master's in communications and all that stuff that like you learn academically, but how can we take it into the real world and actually
Mhm.
use it? And so that's
Yeah.
kind of the long and short of how,
Yeah.
yeah, your content empire and my exposure to online business came to be.
Yeah, and apply it. Yeah, for sure. Like take that education and apply it. Um, Coming from, the old school blogging world, right? I've been online 15 years. And so like it was like I put out content 3 to 5 times a week at least on my blog. Like it was always doing something new. It was always like in my niche, it was always another home tour, always another free printable, always another, right? Like always
Yeah, like
another
your audience can't
project.
get enough of that. New, new,
Yeah.
new, new. I think it's
Yeah.
still the same for influencers, but I think like the big
Mm,
distinction here is like what is the difference between a blogger back in the day and an influencer now than a business owner, and when we start to treat our
right.
content and business like a business versus trying to run it in that like brand deals, followers
Yes.
kind of metric space.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can be a really hard mindset shift, I feel like sometimes for some people. Like it's always been there a little bit for me, but I'm still finding because of the ingrained practice of it. I'm still finding sometimes I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing now, right? Like that's not what it is. So I love that you talk about your content being an asset that, works for you, that like you create it. So looking back then, so that's one of the early wins, obviously, but are there any other early wins or even missteps that sort of shaped how you run your business now?
Oh gosh. Well, I started originally as a web designer. And so I was
Okay.
kind of doing like content on the side. So I think like getting that pivot kind of early on, it was about 6 months into my business journey. And that was like everything slid into place kind of thing, shifting into content at that point. And I think I just put out the 10th edition of like the Content Empire Planner. And
Yeah.
that,
Look,
yeah. And you
I
have a
just
printed
got
one.
it. The printed one just got here today.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm so
And
excited.
that was a huge win, like figuring out like that
Yeah.
planner, and it's changed so much in 10 years, obviously, but like that was probably that early win. And then in terms of missteps was just like starting to treat my business like a business, and not just from the content
Mm,
standpoint, but also from the money standpoint. Like I think figuring out profit first, and like my biggest win right now is that I have 12, and this, it took me a long time to get here, but I have like 12 months of paychecks saved and 12 months of business expenses saved. So even if I don't
awesome.
make a penny for 12 months, and there's something about creating from that place of safety rather
Yes.
than crap, if I don't make it this month, I'm
Yes.
screwed. So that
Yes.
would probably be lesson, misstep, wins.
Yeah.
One.
Because that's a really hard place as a creator of any type to create from. And I say that from experience totally too. Like that's a really hard place to create from because you're like panicking and so much energy is going to that and not to
Yes.
creating something.
Well, that's the other thing is like I didn't go full time in my business till maybe 2017, so 3 or 4 years kind of
Mm,
in. And like as much as like even now you see so many people starting side hustles, and it's like, as much as we want to complain about theirs, that's also that sense of gratitude. Like, it allowed me, and this like savings and treating my business money like a business has
Mm,
like not only given me that safety, but it's allowed me the freedom to design the business that I want, and say no to a lot of
yeah.
things and a lot of
Yeah.
clients to work with them because it's not right and I don't have to. Yeah.
Fair. Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned profit first. I assume like you're talking about like Mike's, it's Mike's
Mike
book, right?
McAllowitz. It's
There
quite
you
a
go.
mouthful.
I'm
Yeah.
like Mike Wazowski. No, that's not right. That's like a kid's. Anyway, yeah, Mike's okay. So profit first. Yeah, that's and yeah, to everybody listening, that's if you can get your hands on that book, it's super awesome and super helpful because we do tend
Yeah.
to run on the well, this is what's left, so that's what I'm gonna make, or that's what the business makes, instead of saying no, this is what I need, this is what I want, and then build the expenses around that. Is sort of the gist of that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you may not take the percentages as is, like run it
Yes.
through your actual, like Canadians, we pay higher taxes. So
Yes.
we just got
Yeah.
to rework those percentages a bit. But that has been a lifesaver. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you've sort of built this incredible tongue-in-cheek content empire. What does your business sort of look like today?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I work, so you're kind of catching me mid pivot a little bit. Not mid
okay.
pivot, I'm kind of out of it, but like I kind of like I ran an agency for a really long time. So when I went full time in my business and I left my government public sector job and I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I was like a kid in a
Hmm.
candy store. All of a sudden, I went from being so productive and being able to get so much done in these little pockets of time to like
Yeah.
almost getting much time. And so from there, I started the agency, and just really within the last, and it was a sales funnel agency specifically because one of my beliefs around content is like, you almost shouldn't like waste your time with content, and especially as a business owner, until you have a purpose for that content and some kind of like sales pathway to your offers.
Yep.
And so that's
Agreed.
where the
Yep.
sales funnel agency came in, but I just kind of quiet quit that maybe in the last 2 years. And
Okay.
so now I'm just like, I'm doing the courses, and then the other side is like this coaching or coach-sulting, which I call
Yeah.
it because I also like to tell people what to do, right? I'm not going to just just the coaching part. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's
I'm
great.
reclaiming bossy as a good word.
There you go. That works. That
Yeah.
works. Absolutely. Okay. So you're sort of on this side of that now then.
Yeah.
And so how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about
Yeah.
it. Again, that like, that runway that I have kind of financially helps
Mm,
things feel really good. I've never had like a bad month, but I truly feel like well, I have had a really bad month earlier this year. Like when I was just making that pivot, I'm like, oh crap, like AI was coming in. It felt like
mm,
so much was in the air, or it was like
mm.
really like, okay, I got to either do some pivots or I got to like give myself that
Right.
year kind of gap year to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with the rest of my life kind of thing. But things
Yeah.
settled, and like that clarity that came from that space was really good. And yeah, I just spend my day kind of creating content and creating tools and helping behind the
Yeah.
scenes of a lot of different businesses, which is exciting.
Yeah. Um, I noticed, so I'm doing obviously I have your 10K monthly content sprint, and I think, was it originally like your content, your empire? Was that something else, or
Yes,
you sort of, okay.
it was.
Because I
Yeah.
was so confused when it was named something else, but I'm like, no, no, I have that. But I love what you said. Like you said, AI is coming out, which is affecting, because I still have a lot of like, blogger friends who are like ad revenue was a thing. Like that's, it hit me too, because I took some time off and I'm like, oh, okay. But then, I love how you mentioned, and I think I can say this, like you mentioned, like information is just there's so much of it. And so the content we share needs to be different now. Like it can't just be, here's all the information. It needs to, in some way, lead them to buy and or help, like once we get to the place of whatever we're selling, it needs to help them implement and apply what it is that all that information is, right? Like it's not just here's more information.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, my observation.
Personalizing is really, yeah, the big piece there, because yeah, we can get information just from ChatGPT or Perplexity. I use every
Yeah.
single day, right? Ask a
Yeah.
million questions. So that part is information has become really cheap, basically.
Right. which is hard I think for some people because I'm like sort of a teacher at heart. Like that is my like even when I blogged, that's what it was from a teaching perspective and giving information. And so sort of like how this isn't a question on there if you don't want to answer it, that's okay. But
No,
like
no, no. I'm
how
happy
would you
to.
help someone sort of shift from that? Like what would you say to them in that case?
Yeah, that was me too. Like I'm a big how to, like my mantra like up until here was like don't hoard the how. That was like
Okay.
the
Yeah,
mantra that I
yeah.
said, right? Because you had this big people saying like don't teach the how, save that for the paid and just teach
Mm,
the why and the what. And I'm like, no, 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 be generous and it will come back to you, I promise. And that has
yeah.
certainly shifted. I still operate from that place of generosity. It's definitely a core value of mine. But I think like
Right.
we have to basically, like, I don't think how to or educational content is dead, but I do feel like we need to shift it slightly so that way it not
Mhm.
only relates to our offers and we're making sure we're reverse engineering everything from our offers, especially for a business and not necessarily like an influencer or a blogger where you're setting the trends, right?
Right. Yeah.
But for a business owner, right, we're responding to the things that our customers are actually saying, and that's reverse engineering and all tying back to whatever it is that we're offering paid in our business. So in
Right.
terms of like shifting that content, I feel like well one of the easiest shifts, low hanging fruit here is instead of how to teach how I or
Mm,
how Rachel or a client name, insert
right.
client name here, how this client got this result. And then, so in that way, we're personalizing it. So I think there's really
Mhm.
three things we can do to personalize our how to and educational content that has been working really well for me and kind of breaks through that kind of just information, kind of
Yeah.
surface level. So personalizing it by sharing your stories. So sharing it into like how I
Mhm.
personalize it by giving like real use cases in terms of how to apply it. So even if
Okay.
your client isn't that specific scenario, right, there's still their wheels can get turning. One of my most popular posts this year was this idea of like, because I always do in the live round enrollment of the 10K monthly content system, I do these business alignment sessions and I do it as a bonus. And I added those in a couple of years ago because what I saw happening are people coming into this program and it wasn't like their business models were quite literally working against them from hitting
Right.
that 10K a month mark or whatever their, you know, monthly revenue happened to be. But it was like their businesses weren't, they didn't have the capacity to work in that way with that many people to hit that goal. And so it was never going to happen. And so bringing those in, and one of my most popular posts was I did a recap of like here are 5 business models from last year's bonus sessions that have gone on,
Mhm.
you know, niches. I want to say genres. I'm thinking books in my head right now, but across different
Yeah,
niches
yeah,
and
yeah.
different
Yeah.
models. Um, and so what does that look like? And so again, that's bringing in that personalization level. And then the third one would be this idea of like sharing your client stories. So how
Mm,
name instead.
right.
So what's beautiful about that is you can go through your content bank, you can go through your past assets and simply layer on that personalization to rework
Right.
kind of the front end packaging of your old posts.
Right. Right. It's true because the personal, so I've been talking a lot of the podcast interviews I've done, we've talked about, personal branding matters more now, not the pretty logos and the pretty colors. Like there's that part of branding from the graphic design side, but like, I mean, like personal branding, like who you are and what you stand for and core values and things like that. And I think you're right. Like one of my most popular posts is our review of the IKEA Ector couch, which, as we know, IKEA doesn't even have anymore. But it is still like one of the most popular posts because people want to know what our experience or my experience was with it. And so, yeah, that makes so much sense to personalize then what you're teaching, how one of your students did with it, or how it affected you. And that's not something that AI can truly, genuinely replicate,
Yeah.
right? So that I love it. I use ChatGPT all the time. Like I'm not slamming it, but from that perspective of, sharing information and content, the personalization, it totally makes sense that you say that
Yeah.
that's what a good shift is for sure.
I love that you said that. Yeah, this is in no way slamming AI, and I use it and I teach how to use it as like
Hmm.
a getting your first draft so that you can have more time to spend on the editing and making it really good. But like I'm a big content is like feeding it in good source material. Like you
Hmm.
put out what you put in, and because
Yeah.
it's like a language predictive model. It's just going to tell you what everyone else is saying. So we're kind of creating this vacuum. So as much as possible, if you are going to use it, and you are going to use it, right?
Yes.
Most
Yeah.
people are going to use it, is like focus on the source material that you're
Mhm.
feeding into it to, again, layer
Yeah.
on the personalization level and make it your own.
Yeah, let it know how you talk. Let it know what your thoughts are about what you're teaching. Let it know that, and that makes it so much easier. It still won't get rid of the darn M dashes, but you know,
No, and I love M dashes and I don't get to use them anymore and I'm very upset.
every time they're in there, I'm like, drat, how did I forget to like, as I'm editing through this, how did I miss it? Well, anyway, whatever, old eyesight, I don't know.
You're gonna go back to like 2015 posts of mine and be like, AI wrote this, and it's like, no, she was just
No.
obsessed with M dashes.
I love that. That's so funny. My daughter actually said the same thing. She goes, I love them. They're great. I'm like, okay. That's so cool. That's so fun. Oh my goodness. Um, okay, so was there a moment at all that you knew you had to like change direction? I think we sort of touched on that at like you found that at the beginning of this year or whatever, or try something new and sort of was there anything else aside from that?
Yeah, I think that really is the big one. The start of this year was really
Mm,
kind of rough, where I was like, I don't know if this business is going to survive, where I need to kind of go back to the drawing a little board a little bit. And I think what I realized is like I had kind of lost my own way. And like, again,
mm,
like part of this freedom is like the freedom to design the business and say no to the things that you don't want to say yes to. So I had to like almost remind myself and come back to that
mhm,
piece of things. But that's really the most recent one I can think of. Shutting down the agency made sense at the time. Because
mm,
like what I found is like with the agency work, and like I feel like agencies are really struggling right now. One of my mentors and friends, Maggie Patterson, works with agencies, and she's
mm,
saying too, she's like, this might be kind of the last year or so for these micro agencies.
oh,
But along with that, right, is like I've found that by me doing the sales funnel for people and my team doing the sales funnel for people, they didn't get as good results as when I was coaching them through creating it themselves. And so there's
right,
this idea of like owner. It comes back to what you were saying about personal brand. You can't
right.
outsource that. You have to
No.
be integral in the DNA of everything that you create, especially with so much AI
Hmm.
junk and nonsense, like for lack of a better word. So don't
Right.
like, use AI, but don't use it as is, right? Use it
Right.
for the editing because that piece needs to be in there. So
Right.
that's, I think, probably the most recent little
Yeah.
pivot and
Yeah.
switch gears.
Fair. So, okay, so how do you manage? I kind of know this, but just based on learning from you, but how do you manage to share on social and on your own platform? Like where do you choose? How do you choose where to focus?
Yeah, I think right now I'm probably like I probably show up in a lot more places than I would recommend other people showing up. And it's because I have this clear delineation between amplification channels and like focus platforms. And so there are platforms that I really focus on showing up on. I have like a daily content system that I do that includes like daily writing, daily publishing, daily engagement. And that engagement piece, we want to talk about what's working in 2025 and
Mm-hmm.
2026. That personalization piece is like make connections with people. So Instagram would be my platform of focus.
Mm-hmm.
Things like Pinterest and resharing over to LinkedIn and even resharing over into like YouTube, like shorts. I'm thinking like the social side of YouTube would
Mm.
be more passive, kind of and we use them for amplification. And then in terms of my long form core content, I'm a writer first and foremost, but
Mm.
I found that it's a lot easier to create video and then repurpose from there.
Okay.
So I write the script, but then that main focus kind of format is
Right.
video. So I think it's having clear systems. It's like
Mm.
knowing the ones that I'm going to be really good at versus the ones that I'm okay not being really good at, but
Right.
still showing up
Yeah.
kind of passively.
I think that speaks to we have to choose because while we can barely, shoot it out to everywhere through like a scheduling app or something like that, right? Like Buffer, whatever it is that you use, and you can put like vertical video you can put like everywhere. It doesn't mean that you can actually interact on all of those platforms because there's just not the time. And again, I think that's one of those things where you can have someone else look after some things, but it's your voice and it's you that people are talking to if they're engaging with you. And I think they know if it's not you to some extent. I
Yeah.
feel like.
I
Yeah.
heard this term, like, I think it was uncanny realness. It's like, and I'm
Okay.
thinking about that a lot with like AI photo shoots that you see everywhere and
Mm,
AI, where it's like, there's just something about
yeah.
this where you can't put your finger on it, but it's
Yes.
not real. This is not a
Yeah.
real person. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Okay.
never mind the ones where they have like 6 fingers or 7 fingers. Like not those ones. Like the even the ones that are done well, it's like something is just not quite real, not
Exactly.
quite right. Okay, so go back for a second. You said for social, you said you think something that's really important and really working right now is connection and engagement. So
Yeah.
can you expand on that a little bit? Like, why is that working? How are you doing that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, I think there's a few things. I think number one, it's like, it's the thing that, we have been, I, I don't know how I want to say this. We've been
Okay.
kind of like conditioned to think that if you are a successful business owner, you do not have to do this, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
should be automated,
Mm-hmm.
everything should run passively. You should not have to really spend any time in your business, and you should be clearing 10K, 50K a month, kind of no
Right.
work, no effort involved. And so I think that's one layer of it, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing the thing that other people are unwilling to do because we've kind of been conditioned through 2019, 2020, 2021 to
Right.
do things with as little effort as possible. But
Yes.
where can we put the effort back in, still have systems behind it? I think that's going to go a long way. Is like,
Right.
maybe this, you should call this episode personalization, because I feel like everyone take a drink when I say personalization. But
Make it a drinking game. What?
right,
No, but I
like,
didn't say that. Never mind.
but it's like that
Yeah.
same idea, right? Is like, where can we
Yes.
even personalize? Because through those conversations, you get to personalize your content to the people that you're talking to. So, like, one of my
Mm-hmm.
metrics is like, for my daily engagement, and one of the core metrics I track is like, how many conversations did I have each day? And I
Okay.
set a target of 5. And if I do more
Okay.
than that, fantastic. But if I only do 5, then I can back away and I'm done. And
Right.
there's like a clear, you are finished, kind of, you've hit
Right. Yeah.
that binary goal kind of
Yeah.
thing. And even like if I have clients who are having really quiet launches, we bring it back to like, okay, let's think how many conversations we can have.
Okay. And you're talking like conversations in the DMs, you're talking conversations, even just
Yeah.
comments.
I think DM conversations. I
Yeah.
think if people don't use social media, like LinkedIn conversations
Mm.
for some of my more corporate clients, but LinkedIn conversations with context, not just showing up kind of out of the blue, right? Those don't work.
Mm.
Also, email conversations. I think for some of
Okay.
my clients do that really well. I think one of the things I try to put in as much as possible is like, anytime I am like on my checkout pages, I have a like, what is your social media handle? And it's optional. But like,
Okay.
that goes a long way too, is like when somebody purchases a course, unless we have like a one-on-one call booked, like I'm usually going to show up in your inbox if you put that in there and be like, hey, thank you so much. Like, how is
Right.
it going? And that
Right.
goes a very, very long way. And
It
same thing with,
does.
if you're doing workshops or webinars as part of a launch or promotion, like having a chance for them to ask questions, but also connect with you outside of that. And because not everyone is doing it, it goes a long, long way.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be
Mm-hmm.
forever, but for now, this is super effective.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, yeah, the personalization thing, but with so I think, yeah, we have been trained to think as a CEO of our business. And for those not watching the video, CEO, I'm like hashtag, like finger quoting that. As a CEO of our business, like we should work like 2 days a week or 2 hours a week or whatever it is and have everything be automated. And I just think that that's not, great for those who are doing that and that's what they want. But I think for 99.9% of people, that's not realistic. That's not even what we want, even though, every once in a while we get this little, oh, I should be doing less because I'm whatever. But I think the flip side of that is so that you're not run off your feet as like a solopreneur and an entrepreneur, like you do have the systems and the SOPs and all the things in place so that that stuff can run so much more smoothly while you take care of the front end. This is my face. This is like, you are your business. side of things and connect with people for sure. Because I think that's a lot of what's missing is the connection for people, right?
And that's the work that you should continue to do. And I think unless you have a massive ads budget, or unless you are coming into 2025 with like a massive engaged audience, you know, I feel like this is what is working now, is like everyone wants to feel seen and have it be personalized right to them.
Right. Well, and I think too, because, because there are so many ads, because there is so much stuff, people are just weary of, and leery of, I guess, of, just another thing, just more information, just whatever, but who's the person behind it, right? Like,
Yeah.
who am I buying from? Who am I learning from? Things like that. Okay. So what does your team sort of look like right now? Like we talked about, like, you are the face of everything. Obviously you talk to people, you whatever, like, but who helps you, like, with the behind the scenes stuff, I guess? Like, do you have a team?
Yeah. So I have like my team is much smaller, obviously, because did have an agency. So I had copywriters and designers all working for me. So for now, I kind of like I bring a designer on kind of ad hoc as I'm doing projects or as I kind of need it the need for it is a lot lower. I also do all of the copy myself now, which I
Right.
actually really like. I have an admin person who does my inbox for me and deals with like payment plan issues and like that frontline kind of questions, because again, it's just about knowing yourself. But I know that when I am responsible for doing, like, I can't find my password, I need to reset my, like, that
Yes.
makes me hate the business.
I
I
know.
don't,
Yes.
that
Yes.
steals my joy from like
Yeah.
the creativity side of things. So that part is really, really essential. So I've
Yeah.
had someone who's been in that role for years and years. She was actually my very first web design
Oh,
client
that's, oh,
15 years ago, and now she does that, and
that's
works for a
great.
couple other clients that way too. And then I have a video editor because we create content like that way, and I don't want to do that. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
not. And then the third thing is I have a VA who helps me with like when I say like the amplification channels and getting it on those other places,
Right.
like following my SOPs and doing that.
Yeah. Like, you don't need to be the one who schedules those things, right? Like,
No.
you're in those things. You've said words in those
Yeah,
things. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
Again,
fair.
anything that I can kind of find, what do I need to be involved in, and from a, like a voice perspective or like
Mm-hmm.
a brand DNA kind of perspective, and my fingers need to be on it. And I do all the daily engagement myself, and I want to do
Right.
that. But like, what are the pieces that are just going to like steal my time from where it needs to be?
Right. Right. Like when a lovely, friendly Canadian asks how to get the Canadian, the Canadian version of the planner. I think I got an email from your email person for that, which is totally cool. It answered my question. So, um,
She's much
okay.
better at it than I am, anyways.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's like one of my least favorite things is I lost my password, or my emails got deleted, my hard drive got what? Can I have the PDF again? I'm like, yep, sure you can. Anyways, okay. You already told me what's working for social media. I'm just looking at my list of questions. Are there any platforms or strategies that have surprised you lately?
Ooh, I think a big one really lately is like Pinterest has always been a powerhouse, and I'm sure you too has always
It
been
was
kind of
for
a
a long
powerhouse
time.
for
Yeah.
traffic, but that has kind of taken a huge
Yep.
nosedive really in the
Yep.
last. I think it's coming up because they've come out even like within the last couple weeks and said like we are going to do what we can to remove this AI
Oh
spam,
my
and
gosh. That's all I
because
see. I don't
all
even
you
go
would
on it
see is
anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
all you would see is Amazon ads and like it just
And
stole the
AI.
joy
Yeah.
from that
It
platform.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like
that was
even
a
as a
huge one.
user, like I use it
Yes.
for like
Yeah.
clothes and hair and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to see a 50-year-old who's airbrushed to look like 20 to show me a
Exactly.
hairstyle. Like, can I have a real person? Yeah.
Exactly. Come back to that
Yeah.
uncanny
Yeah.
real. Like something's not quite right here.
Yeah.
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 So I think that that has been a big shock and a big kind of evolution. I feel like it's gonna come back in it, but also like our methods of using it have had to change so much. And
Okay.
that's kind of like on the negative side. I think, oh, I'm
You're
so
fine.
sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay.
I'm just gonna put it on. Do not disturb. Okay.
There you
You're
go.
good. It was a spam caller. It wasn't even
Of
a real
course it
call.
was. Yeah, of course, right?
So I was saying Pinterest, but then I
Yeah.
also feel like on the good side, YouTube has been such a powerhouse kind of
Okay.
lately in terms of views and the features that they're rolling out. I think Instagram has been, I think the thing about Instagram is like being an early adopter of some of those features. So some clients are doing very well with
Mm,
that. And then I have other clients who just continue to kill on LinkedIn and they use it really
okay.
smartly. So yeah, not
Okay.
too many. I think the only real surprise is that Pinterest kind of like
Okay.
hit this year because we've
I'm like
all
looking
relied
forward
on
to
it so
that.
much.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It was like that was like well, I've been on blog like my other like Homemade Lovely on that side of things since 2010, and so back then Pinterest didn't exist, and when it did, it was by invite only. Like you had to get somebody to invite you to it.
I
Like
remember
that's how
that.
old I am,
Yeah.
how long I've been on there. But like and it was a amazing. It was such a powerhouse for traffic, and then not so much. So
No.
I'm looking forward to them sort of figuring out who they are and what they are because I feel like they've really struggled with we're an idea place, we're a social media network, we're a search engine, we're a like
Yeah.
I hope they can figure that out and then yeah.
Me too, because there's no one that does what they do
Right.
really, really well. Like you think about like how Meta kind of like, takes over everyone's features. Like all
Yeah.
like there's ever like they're all kind of just adopting. Pinterest is the only real one. I can't think of another alternative that works the way it does. Hopefully they just get
No.
back to what they do really, really
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too, for sure. Okay, so for you teach about so much obviously about content and marketing, but in your own business, how do you decide to focus on what to create sort of next? I know you're obviously big on like your content works for you. You're 10 years for the content planner or the planner. Like how do you know sort of what to build on and focus on next, creating next?
Yeah. So I think it's at this intersection of like for me, I teach business owners. I am a business owner, so it's always going to relate in some way to
Hmm.
my offers or reverse engineer. And then I also teach like I think like one of the mistakes is like people will get so many different offers and so they'll be like giving their audiences whiplash by
Yeah.
trying to like switch from one to the next. Or so I
Yes.
feel like you should stick with like one offer for at least 3 to 4 weeks, and that you're
Okay.
released. So for me, when I'm deciding, I'm like picking what offer, and then I'm reverse engineering the topics, and that'll be the theme for
Mm,
3 to 4 kind of weeks or for the month.
right.
So that's like the first kind of strategy layer, and then the second strategy layer is like I have a really healthy ideas bank and ideas and inspiration system where I like collect ideas kind of on the go. And then I have a process once a month where I come and I organize them all and I go through them. So I shop that first. The other
Mm,
thing is like because we are business owners, like if you have a week that you're really busy, go and shop your old content and maybe you need to give it a little spin. So I'll certainly do that. And then other than that, like I'll go into like I'll use ChatGPT for like idea generation, but like it'll end up some Frankenstein of some different idea.
yes.
Like I don't ever really use anything directly
Yeah.
as is that it pops out. Um, and then, yeah, I don't even know where I get ideas, but so it's at this what ends up happening are the things that I'm excited to talk about, but that still relate to my offers. I need to be
Right.
excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair. And then as far as like what your offers are, like how do you decide when it's time to create a new one or
Mhm.
or go back and revise one? Like,
Yeah. I'm in the stage right now of business of killing my darlings, and so I am like getting rid of a lot of a lot of
right.
offers and really simplifying things. And I want
Yeah.
at least on the front end for things to be incredibly simple, right? So you can join, you can grab the planner, or there will always be kind of like some small accessible way to
Mm,
get support because I don't want price or the ability to invest to be the thing that's going to stop you from using. And I think like the planner is probably because especially the planning club, it's like you get to hang out with me all year for $97 and like we get
right.
to plan together on a monthly basis and you
Right.
get the planner. So I feel like that's kind of like I don't want to say public service, but it's like my I don't care if I make money on that one, basically,
Right.
right? So there will
Right.
always be some little accessible, very accessible way. And then the 10K monthly content system, and then like either signature 50K, which is basically or like one-on-one coaching. So I want a very simple on the front end business model. And if anything pops up, it's always going to be behind the scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Because I've noticed, obviously, being a student, the back end of like what is there has changed over the years. But yeah, like the messaging is still. Anyways, I'm enjoying the live round this time to go
Yeah,
through it all
no,
again.
good.
Um, okay. So we talk a lot on like this show about sort of building a business that fits your actual real life. So how do you personally make sure your business supports your life? I know you said you've saved up 12 months. Like that's obviously one way, but like in the day to day, in the how you interact with people, in the how you, I guess, guard your time, in all of those things, how do you build your business and work on and in your business in a way that sort of works for your actual real life?
Yeah, and it must be, I don't know if it's like coming up on turning 40 or what it is, but I have a lot more personal goals, I think, than I like
Mm,
ever have before, and I'm not as fulfilled to work like
mm,
10-hour days. Like I
yeah.
used to just be voracious with it where I could not get enough. And don't get me wrong, I still love and enjoy my work, but I'm just craving so much more on the personal side and the
Mm,
lifestyle version of it than ever before. And so, yeah, I'm very serious about guarding that time. I like that you said that the way you did. So, systems certainly help me get
mm,
more, outsourcing the pieces that don't bring me joy or that don't save me the time to be exactly where I need to be in the business. I'm also
mhm.
a massive introvert, and if
That's
I
okay.
have if I have an appointment at 2 p.m. or if I have a meeting at 2 p.m., like I won't get anything done early. Like even this interview being at 12:45, like I just went and got my dog toys and got coffee and like answered emails because there's something where I
Yeah.
can't I just can't focus on
I
really
am
anything else.
exactly the same. For me, this interview was at 3:45. And so my whole day was, I mean, besides running kids around in a car appointment, like I watched
Yeah.
some videos, like actually from your content empire, or from 10K, so
Yeah.
that I can be caught up for this week. But like, I didn't do anything. I didn't create anything.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Yeah.
No, I feel like I am too, because not a lot of people are like that.
Yeah. So I have one day, like I have Thursdays, and like some days I will have like 5 hours of meetings on that day, and
Mm,
it's exhausting, but it's kind of on the back end of the week. So I've gotten a really good like
right.
Monday to Wednesday.
Yes.
I don't say yes to a lot of things as well. And then, so like having like one specific meeting day is huge for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And then if I have any I try to do them on Fridays. So again, I'm guarding that front half of my week so I get the progress that I need to on things.
Yeah.
And then I work about 5 hours a day on the other days besides Thursdays.
Mm,
And I'm really disciplined about that time. I use time blocks, and that helps my brain. So when an idea comes up or something I need to do, I can be like, okay, that belongs on Wednesday on block
mm,
4, right? Or
okay.
whatever it is. So what I will do is I time block my time, and I do 1 hour kind of a day for content. I do 1 hour for that daily power hour where I'm doing my daily engagement. And then I have about 30 minutes to an hour kind of like with my one-on-one coaching, like people get unlimited reviews and questions, and no one abuses it, but like so I'll have like 30 to 45 minutes that I dedicate for like responding to those questions, and then the rest
Right.
are just like power pomodoros on like my bigger priorities.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Time blocking. I used to be really good at that, and then the last couple of years I sort of let it slide, and I've had a hard time getting back to it. But I know I need to, because that's how my brain works too. It's like in those 1 hour chunk blocks of time for sure. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm
Yeah.
super scattered.
And you get so much. It's so funny, but like
Mm.
by setting a timer, like on my gravestone, it'll say she lived and died by timers, but I always have a timer going off somewhere. But it's amazing because I get so much done in a 30-minute chunk that if I had not set that time, it would have taken me 2 hours.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Because you're like, oh, let me check this. Let me do this. Let me
Yeah.
write this down. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Okay. So, what are you then most excited about in your business right now? what are you are you experimenting with anything? Are you loving anything?
Well, I think we're like in the middle behind the scenes of like a big kind of like rebrand of the
Okay.
business. So that's exciting. I'm excited to roll that out. It's probably going to be the most the most chill, the chillest
Okay.
rebrand in terms
Okay.
of like we're not gonna like every time we've done a rebrand and we've done one like maybe every 3 4 years, like this is probably the fourth rebrand that we've
Okay.
done.
Okay.
And normally we go back through all of the content and we rebrand all of that too. We're not doing that this time.
Yeah.
We're going to maybe go back like a month or two, but then we'll
Yeah.
just be kind of moving forward. So in
Yeah.
that sense it's going to be really chill. So the rebrand I'm very excited about. I have a solo business retreat planned, and it's like this condo that is like on the rocks overlooking the ocean where
Oh
you
my
literally
gosh.
see whales come by. So I have like 4 days dedicated, like blocked
Nice.
there by myself to kind of like plan 2026
Mm-hmm.
right at the start of December because I take most of December off anyways.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, those are the two
Yeah.
things I'm
That's
excited for.
awesome. I love those retreats. Those are great. I've done a couple of them when I was writing. Each time I wrote a book, I took a
Yeah.
weekend and I was like, okay. So, oh, that's awesome. That's so exciting. I'm so excited for you.
I'm excited. Yeah, there's something about getting out of your space for that type of planning that
It's
doesn't happen when
true.
you're here in
It's true.
Netflix and the dogs and yeah.
Yeah, and I have like right now we have like our three kids and our friend's daughter lives here and they're all in their early 20s. So like our house is full all the time.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Like it's amazing. It's totally amazing. But yeah, like for that concentrated long blocks of time of not being interrupted to think and to daydream and to, plot
Exactly.
out things like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And having the ocean there, that'll be like super awesome too.
Yeah, I went to the same place last year and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I've never felt like so at peace anywhere, even though there's
Yeah.
like massive storms and
Yeah.
it's so cool. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that. Okay, if you could give one piece of advice to someone listening who feels totally overwhelmed by all the content they could create, or maybe, and I'm saying this from perspective backwards, have a gazillion million pieces of content they have created that maybe isn't so useful now, what would you tell either of those people to start with?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would challenge them on isn't so useful now, first of all. And
Okay.
like my first place for people to start is like go and create or set up some kind of content bank. So you start to see your content as an asset that you can reuse. And like,
Mm,
even if something is like really outdated, right? It's much easier, I find, to edit something and start from something than it is to start from a blank page and create something there. So unless you've massively, and even if you've massively pivoted and let's say you have
mm,
no content, you're starting completely from scratch, well,
right.
set up that content bank first and just be very intentional about the pieces that you are filling with it. Like it would be amazing if I could start my business from scratch today, right?
Yeah.
Like the amount of focus and intention that I
Mm,
would bring to those pieces of content would be so I think like the content bank because that also layers on like starting to think of your content like like an asset.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, what if someone, so I get it from starting from scratch and being deliberate about it because that's so much easier. But what if
Mhm.
someone say I have gone back and gotten rid of lots of old stuff that
Yeah.
really, believe me, was not useful anymore. From before Instagram and stuff like that, where I gave daily updates of what I was doing with the children.
Yeah.
Like, what if someone has like hundreds of posts? Like, that's kind of daunting to try to organize into a content bank, right? So, like, what would you
Yeah.
suggest for that?
I would just start, like, I would start the system moving forward and then I would just slowly work back, right? So it might even
Mm,
be I'm looking at what are all the pieces I've created so far in 2025. And then I can start to dive into like, and even just like cherry pick 2024 and
right.
2023, right? Because you're right, there's a lot of content where it's like these daily updates, right? Your kids aren't teeny tiny anymore, right? So
Nope.
that's maybe not so relevant.
They're grown.
So don't pull those in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Obviously like pick the ones, but I'm sure there's some good little nuggets in there or
Right.
little tips that you dropped, or even that just need to be modernized a little bit. So I would just like use the system moving forward, but then like
Mm,
slowly work your way back. And once you get past like a year or two, right, start just cherry picking the most
Right.
useful pieces.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense for sure. And it is like, I love like your content bank. I love your inspiration bank because it is so easy to have all these scattered pieces everywhere. And then I don't know about you, like you said, you're about 40. I'm almost 50. Like my brain just doesn't hold on to things the way it used to. And you know, so to remember all the things that I have and go back and go, what am I using this season? What do I have to use in the season? The content bank is so great for that. And then the inspiration bank, yeah, because a million photos on my 46,000 photos on my phone of screenshots and everything else, like that's useless to me, right? Like until it's organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, RIP to all the brilliant ideas we just didn't write down or go and put in our inspiration bank, right?
Yes. Or that we talked to Chad about and now it's buried like 5,000 conversations down. Like, yeah. No. The systems the systems that you teach are so helpful for stuff like that. For
I'm
sure.
happy to hear that. Yeah, it's
No, so helpful.
I always look for everything we can turn into. If you're doing it more than once, turn it into a system.
Yeah. Yeah. And SOPs, like for my daughter was my VA for a while. And so to have those written out for her to know exactly like, here's the raw video, go create like the whole core content kind of thing for it. So, okay. Do you have anything else that you want to share with anybody? I'm sure there's lots up there, but
I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so then where can my listeners find you and connect with you and learn from you? Where's
It's over Your Content Empire kind of everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, the email, the website. Yeah.
Awesome. So yourcontentempire.com.
Yeah.
And then at Your Content Empire for the social media stuff.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hailey, for being here. Thank you for being generous with your time and answering my questions. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it for today on The Shannon Atchison Show. If you found this helpful, follow the show and share it with a friend. And hey, if you're not sure what kind of business actually fits your life, take the free quiz at shannonatchison.com. It'll point you in the right direction. Thanks for listening. Talk again soon.